Conor, Chairman of the Heritage Council, members of the Heritage Council, colleagues, friends, and indeed members of the general public. As Chief Executive of the Heritage Council, my name is Michael Starrett, and I really have the privilege of welcoming you here tonight on behalf of Council. The event is billed as sort of part of the International Year of Biodiversity, but of course it is actually, it's much, much more than that, as you will find out. Many things can inspire. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's all about being in the right place at the right time and actually being open to inspiration. And I have absolutely no doubt that the people that have chosen to come along here this evening are in the right place at the right time and that we will be inspired. Because the event actually promises to inspire, to allow us to think differently, to look for different solutions, to ask different questions, and above all, to allow us all, as individuals, but probably more importantly, collectively as a society, to learn from nature and to actually reconnect with knowledge that we've forgotten or in fact chosen to ignore. I think that if we do that, we can together build a very positive and sustainable future. And even, although maybe it's not for discussion, I'd somewhat argue, we can do that by just thinking about it collectively together. Going back in time, as a young undergraduate, I was inspired by a book, by a publication. And it was lovely in talking to Dayna earlier on today to realise that she too had that inspiration from a book, different era. Mine was as a young undergraduate in the mid-70s when I read for the first time a publication called Blueprint for Survival. And that blueprint was prepared in 1972 for the world's first Earth Environment Summit in Stockholm. And it looked to the future with a real and in-depth understanding of the past. And in this Google age, I have to commend it to you today as material which illustrates just how long, because if you 72 to now, you can figure it out, just how long it has actually taken us to reach a point where we are perhaps politically and maybe even as a society only now just scratching at the surface of the environmental problems that we've created for ourselves. And Paul, I know, will touch on this and expand on some of those problems, but more importantly, inspiring us to think about different ways of doing things, different solutions. We may also, at long last, be remaking the connection between environment and the well-being of society, and indeed between environment and the well-being of our economy, and I know that Dayna in particular will give us some thoughts on that. This is about biomimicry. You know, bio, very interesting sort of starting point. And the IUCN initiative to halt biodiversity loss, we all know, has failed miserably. And we really have to start asking ourselves, why? I have to say it, and my apologies to people from the department if there are any here. I haven't recognised anyone or spoken to anyone in particular, but our own National Biodiversity Plan just out for public consultation, 3 to 4 years late. The Heritage Council's recent research shows really clear misunderstandings amongst the general public about biodiversity, never mind biomimicry, about biodiversity. And yet, in the 10 years since the Heritage Council has been publishing awareness and attitudes research, members of the public who consider that biodiversity is important or significant to them has gone up from 1999, 3% made the connection of the significance, to now 17%. And I have to say that I have tremendous respect for and faith in the general public, that as Chief Executive of the Heritage Council and as the Chairman and as the board members as we all serve, that the public can make informed decisions. Provide the information regarding nature, make it accessible and enjoyable, make it relevant, and the people will lead the politicians to appreciate its true value. I like to think, and I think our record stands in good stead, that the Heritage Council is a forward-looking organisation, organising events like this, is pushing out the boundaries of what people think the Heritage Council should be doing. And we do so with the advantage of a tremendous, and I would like to say in-depth, scientifically based, but humanities-led understanding of the past. And that allows us to learn for the future and to share that, we hope, with as wide an audience as we possibly can. Emerging proposals from the Heritage Council on the future of our landscapes and on climate change will show new and, I hope, refreshing approaches are possible. And both of tonight's special guests are particularly qualified to actually help us in that work of inspiring new and refreshing approaches. Paul and Dayna, I have absolutely no doubt. I only met Dayna about an hour and a half ago. The conversation flowed, we got on. There was inspiration. She's committed. You will see that in everything that she says. Paul, I know from of old, has been a supporter of biodiversity, natural heritage, environmental issues for as long as I've been involved with the Heritage Council. And just to put that in perspective, when no one would appear, not one member of the media would appear at the European Environmental Ministers' Conference held in Malahide in 2002, thereabouts, Paul Cunningham was there. And as a result of what Paul did that time, we now at least have a National Biodiversity Data Centre which actually provides some way of measuring what impact we're having on it.